Next on the Delaware Way, we might become the first state to ban lead paint for outdoor use in a new film shot in Delaware. This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Manti. Delaware may become the first state in the union to ban lead in paint for outdoor use. One of the sponsors of the bill that would do just that is State Representative from District 27, Earl Jacques, which is in Glasgow. Congratulations on your re-election, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
As you pointed out, 85%. I'd be saying that too. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, congratulations. So
when
we talk about the lead issue, I think most people get the impression we've dealt with this. Is lead and paint still around?
Well, what happened is in the 70s, the federal government banned it from indoor use. So everybody thinks that means it's banned everywhere, but it's really not. It's been used for a long, long time. I don't know when it actually started for outdoor use. You know, we have it on water towers, we have it on bridges, and we even have it on playground equipment. So House Bill 456, signed by the governor, it's law now, bans it from its use on the outside. And we're waiting for DENREC to come up with rules of how we're going to take it off of those things when it needs to be and repainted. You know, when bridges get repainted or water towers, how we're going to handle the remediation of that.
It sounds like you're going to have overwhelming support for this. I can't.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand anybody will be fighting this.
No, not at all. This passed unanimously in the General Assembly. Both sides of the aisle were on board with this. It's not an issue at all. All our state agencies, you know, none of our state agencies have used lead paint in years. But it is out there. It has been painted. You know, I mean, we have bridges that are old and water towers that are old and all that stuff. So it's still there, you know, playground equipment. Nobody thought about playground equipment. I didn't even realize that at first that it's on playground equipment.
That's amazing. When you said that I'm sure that's what alarms people when you say that.
Absolutely. It's on there, you know what I mean? So we have a lot of parks and stuff that have painted it years and years ago, you know, and it wasn't banned then, but it's on there.
Talking about the schools, you are chair of the Education Committee in the House of Representatives, right. And you recently did a study on schools about consolidation. You chose not to consolidate. Why?
Well, there's several reasons. One is, and it was somewhat alarming to me because I never realized it either, is that Sussex County, our lower county, is made up of 963 square miles. So when you would transport a student from one end of the county to the other end, it's longer than going, a lot of people talk about Wilmington to Newark transporting students. Well, just think how long that is going from one end of that county to the other end. So it made no sense. It really doesn't make any sense there. And
it made no sense anywhere in the state, including Wilmington?
Very few places did it make sense. And overwhelmingly, every meeting that we had, and we had public meetings in at least 3 times in each county. We had public comment every one of those meetings, and the public basically told us they did not want to consolidate school districts. You know, people always say in politics, right, that we should throw out all incumbents, except mine.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Except mine. I love mine. I love mine. You know what I mean? Exactly, I'm glad that some people do love me, by the way, but except mine. And that's the same way with school districts. Let's get rid of all them school districts. We should not have all them school districts except mine.
But when you studied,
and that's what it came out in the public very clearly.
When you studied consolidation, though, you then became aware of some other problems.
Oh yeah, there's huge problems. We have to straighten out our transportation problem. The formula that the state uses to pay school districts for transportation of schools hasn't been changed since 1977. A lot of things have changed since 1977, so that one needs to change. We brought in contractors, bus contractors, and talked to them about some of their issues. It's hard getting bus drivers. We don't pay them enough. Last year we kicked in quite a bit of upgrade in school transportation, but it's still, they're not getting paid as much as somebody delivers pizzas.
Is the formula for paying for our schools working in Delaware?
I don't think it's working as good as it should work. It really isn't. But here's an interesting part when you look at data, just looking at data, right? Delaware is about 7th in the country in the amount of money we pay per student. But on academics, we're somewhere in the mid-30s to the mid-40s. We range, depending on what survey you look at. So it isn't about money all the time. It's about improving our academics performance. And how can we do that?
Well, what's the cause? So if you're saying it's not money,
It's not always money.
So what is it?
Well, we have to adjust some of the money because it's not in the right places. You know what I mean? And we got to improve our academics. You know, our testing, our state testing, shows that our students can't read very well. And you have to read, be able to read, to do any type of thing. If you want to do math, you know, when I went to school, it wasn't with Abraham Lincoln, by the way, but it was a long time ago. We were taught adding, subtracting, multiplying, division, right? But today, it's all word problems. And if you can't read, you can't do math. You know what I mean?
No,
you can't do science unless you can read.
This is a big problem. What you're talking about is a big problem because
huge problem.
I've said to people before, we've talked about moving to Delaware. I don't live in Delaware right now. I live in the Philadelphia area. And we've talked about moving to Delaware. And everybody you talk about moving to Delaware, everybody you talk about, they go, yeah, it's a great state, taxes are low, schools aren't very good. It's a reputation that Delaware has, whether they deserve it or not. It's a reputation they have.
Absolutely, and it's hard to, you know, anytime you get stuck with a reputation or a stigma, it's hard to counterbalance that, you know what I mean? What a lot of people don't realize is that we are in the top of the country for children with disabilities. We have some of the greatest programs in the country. We had over 200 families last year alone move to our state just to get services for their child who has disabilities.
I want to continue the conversation, if we could, talk a little bit more about education and bring
Absolutely.
up a couple of other issues when we can continue with State Representative from District 27, Earl Jacques, when the Delaware Way continues.